Hi, it's Jo, and today we're watching Agatha All Along, Season 1, Episode 6, Familiar by Your Side. I am so excited at the end of the last episode to find out what on earth is going on, to find out more about Billy. And yeah, I love this show, I adore it so much. A reminder that you can find the unedited version of this reaction on my Patreon. And before I start, a quick disclaimer to say that I have a cold. I'm getting better. I'm better today than I was yesterday and the day before, but I think you can still hear it in my voice. I might cough. I mean, I'm going to try and edit it out if I do cough in the edited version, but just disclaimer that I have a cold. I'm really sorry. I can't help it. Let's go. We're getting backstory.
We are so proud of you.
How did he get from here to where we know him? Okay, so it's not Billy, it's William.
Welcome to the Curious.
This is gonna be Lillian. Lilia. Yes.
Are we looking behind us?
So he knew her before.
Don't tell me everything.
The one thing someone did comment, mention in a comment, which I think was really, actually made a lot of sense, that there's a chance he cast the sigil on himself, which would explain him which wouldn't necessarily mean he'd been lying, because he might have just not remembered certain things. But he also could have been lying this entire time. We do not know. We're about to find out.
One of great transformation and
She saw something real.
your lifeline is broken in two.
What? That can't be good.
And he was in his road clothes in the
It
ball.
can mean many things. You don't need to be a psychic to see that you're a good egg. Enjoy the now, baby. It's the only thing that's certain.
Okay, so he's a good egg. I like that he's a good egg. What does this mean? Snake? Did she cast the sigil on him? Was that her casting the sigil on him? To protect him from whatever was coming?
It's okay, we'll be home soon.
Oh my gosh, did Billy's spirit somehow possess this boy? Like, he really was just some Uncle William living his normal life, and then somehow Wanda's son's essence possessed him, and that's why it's a break. That's why he has two different persons.
Looks like it's getting smaller.
Mom! He's out!
A nice dose of trauma, always good. Or did he die, and then Wanda's son possessed his dead body?
I don't think he's breathing. I can't get to him.
Oh my god. So the good egg died. Sorry, good egg, William.
Tommy!
Oh, you're alright. You're gonna be okay.
Oh my god, so that's actually really sad that their son died. Like, the sweet boy was having a great time at his life. Like, he died. And then Billy, his spirit possessed him. It explains how he exists, but does... And she was the cop! Holy shit!
Hey, buddy, can you tell me your name?
Does that mean Tommy's out there as well? Fucking hell.
What do you mean?
We're not fighting. Everything's okay.
Does he remember any of the Billy stuff, or is he kind of just lost between the two? Is he both boys somehow? Or does he just barely remember anything? Does he know his last memory was screaming for Tommy?
Clean?
Mm-hmm. A lifetime. I fear William is dead. Greg knows that's not his William.
Please stop.
This is so tragic because their son is dead.
Worrying!
They're trying so hard to keep it on the outside, but they're not worried as well.
Go up alone.
There's no problem, of course.
She's thinking I didn't say that out loud. This is just such a sad story. Their son died in that car crash. I really just can't get over how tragic this is for this family and for the boy that was there. And it's great that Wanda's son gets to live, but does he remember that he's not? Or does he genuinely think he has amnesia? Because his shouting of Tommy could easily have been, like, the last remnants of what he was remembering. It's crazy that he's already met 2 of the witches from the road, like he picked them on purpose. Did Lillian sense something major was going to happen to him, and so she put the protection sigil to try and protect him, and it didn't work?
I'm just gonna say, William Kaplan, I love you.
Sorry, I'm not William Kaplan. At least, not entirely.
So he's both boys somehow,
Before the accident.
right?
Just pretended to. Because I love you too.
You love me too.
I love you. Period.
I thought that turned out to be some Avengers training exercise gone wrong.
You're so adorable. Look at her skin. That level of flawless should be illegal.
He's got a connection to all of them somehow.
Here.
More coffee.
Oh, this is his outfit, right? It's what he's wearing on the road.
Bonerific 69.
Hmm.
You can just call me Ralph.
Okay.
Randall. Call me Randall.
Agatha Harkness, please don't ask about Agatha Harkness. Please don't ask about Agatha Harkness. What do you know about Agatha Harkness?
Come on, man!
Who is Agatha Harkness?
I have this really nice lady hostage in my attic. I was a terrible influence on Wanda and Vision's kids.
Yep, Wanda and Vision's kids.
Twins.
What are their names?
Billy and Tommy.
Billy. And Tommy.
Tommy.
His mind-reading brother.
Yep.
And the twins. They just disappeared.
So is he on the road wanting to find his brother?
But you want to know what I think?
Agatha is still in Westview?
Last I heard, she was under some kind of spell.
The pieces are being put together.
Like a normal resident.
He's figuring out who he is. I love that we're getting his backstory.
Hi.
And seeing it. He's gonna act like he's their son.
Hi.
The real Jolene. Does he want kind of truth about everything about who he is, true understanding, but also Tommy? Do you feel sorry for the Kaplans? That was your house. So he's been aware this whole time, involved. And everybody he brought that came on the road with them, he'd come across before. Because isn't Mrs. Hart the one that hits him with the car if the car thing really happened?
Police! Please don't call the police. I can't have a criminal record.
Yeah, she can't hear any of this because she's in her delusion.
Sorry.
Yeah, he wasn't hit by a car. But... So all of the people that
Ms. Harkness,
went on the road with them, he came across first.
so chaotic. I fully explained myself to you.
She's in her court procedural.
So, see, I feel like you've typecast me as the mouthy teen who didn't actually kill the victim, but is guilty of some other B-story crime.
Say again.
I'm Billy Maximoff.
Please don't end the episode. Okay, thank you. I was wondering if we were going to get to see more of him, like, during the road, knowing, like, so does that, with the fact that we didn't see him doing any sneaky things, causing people to die along the way, like some people have been theorizing, would suggest that along the road, he was just being the person we thought he was. Like, he was the boy he presented as. The, like, kind of just someone that was really cool, like, thinking all this witch stuff was really cool, and just really enthusiastically wanted to get to the end of the road. Because otherwise we'd have had like those little flashes of him being devious along the way, or him doing something that caused the problem, or whatever it is. So we kind of have to assume from this that he did tell the truth the entire time. He just was sigiled, so he couldn't say the truth. He's trying to find his brother at the end of the road, and he got really angry in the last episode because he realized that these witches, despite all of what they were saying about being a coven and looking out for each other, and just in general people being good people and people looking out for each other, their response was actually, well, I don't really care if everyone dies along the way, it happens, I just want my own power. And he was not okay with that, and he just kind of lashed out. Of course, what is this? That's Agatha, not Rio, right? Where's Rio?
That was cool. Even with the sigil in the way, you and your mother have the same tell.
What's that?
Billy.
How weird it would be to have someone actually know his name. Now that he knows what it is as well.
Lilia and Jen. Yeah, well, what you did was... But life goes on. Yours, anyway.
So how in control is he? Like, was that him lashing out? There's lots of debate as well about whether or not Agatha going after Alice, whether that was instinctive, whether she genuinely can't control it, whether there's a degree that she can control it. And I think at this point we don't know, because I think we could easily give her the benefit of the doubt and say she can't control it once she gets hit with another witch's magic. She just instinctively latches on and she can't stop herself. But then there are other times where she makes these choices and she does these things where you're like, but that, it seems in keeping with her character that she would simply choose to take the power because she's here for the power. She knows the Salem 7 are hunting her. She wants power more than anything to be able to protect herself and to keep going and to be stronger. So I don't know yet personally where I feel whether it's... I think it is definitely instinctive, but there is a part of me that does wonder whether she would be able to stop herself quicker than she did in that instance. And so then in a similar thing, I do think that Billy, what he did in the previous episode, was out of the fact that they were so callous around the face of death. They didn't really care that someone else had just died trying to protect them. And that they were kind of acting like, well, we all are here for our own power. And if other people die along the way to get it, I don't really care. And that was just completely at odds with his character, or at least his view of the world as things stand. And so he kind of just lashed out. Now, he previously had only mentioned reading minds and studying magic. So was that the first time he even used his magic? It just instinctively came to him when he was feeling these strong emotions. Because again, he needs to learn to control it, same way that Agatha potentially needs to learn to control it, though Agatha has had her magic for a very long time.
I'm not like you.
Where have I heard that before?
You're not like her.
Tell me.
Choices
I just
matter.
gotta know. Don't you dare feel guilty about your talent. You survived. Like witches have been doing for centuries. So you broke the rules. Big deal. That's what kept you alive.
This is seemingly very genuine from
That's what
Agatha.
makes you special.
It's so fascinating.
If we're gonna make it to the end,
But I don't need you anymore.
You're not quite in control of it yet, are you?
I'll figure it out.
What does Billy maximize?
I do feel like they're gonna need to go together.
End of the road?
But if she survived the mud, the others too, can't they?
Oh, right.
She's reading him very easily.
There's two of you.
Just know that I do not trust you. At all. Ever.
She's used to that, I think.
I'm not that nice.
We're getting that, my darling. Okay, so this story is actually completely tragic when you think of the Kaplans. Like, their son died. You don't really think about, like, it's hard enough thinking about Westview and kind of Wanda's anti-hero villainy actions in that, even though I still do ultimately think as a character she is a hero. She obviously did have a very villainous turn. And the people of Westview that were hurt, you don't really think of any, like, casualties outside of Westview, people who, you know, were distracted and crashed their car and killed their son. It was an accident. I'm not actually blaming the woman in any, like, degree of... Like, she would blame herself forever if she knew he was dead. But it is completely tragic to think that that boy, that good egg, died. and his parents don't know, and they just think their son is alive, and he is dead. That's his body, but it's not his mind. It is really tragic when you think of William Kaplan. Um, and that's definitely what Lillian saw in his hand, was the life thing being broken in two, and a different boy being the second one. And so she probably wasn't wrong when she was like, that can be interpreted as not death, but I think she had a very good sense something was happening, and that's why she told him to enjoy life, because she was like, you don't have much of that left. Little did she know it was literally about an hour. I think it's important that William was already dead when Billy took over, that we heard the heartbeat stop. Doesn't mean necessarily that paramedics couldn't have come and revived him. Like, we don't know exactly what the state of his body was. Maybe he could have been brought back to life, but at least it wasn't like a hostile takeover or a possession, because he was dead. And we do also know that Billy wasn't doing it consciously. He was just trying to survive, and only recently learnt his real name. He didn't have vivid memories of anything. So I think it's just such a fascinating story to play with. And, you know, again, him being like, I'm not that nice. He's just, I need more of him. I need to see more of him to know where he's going to be on this, like, heroic scale. Or on the, like, you know, like, is he lawful good? Is he chaotic neutral? Like, whatever, you know. I need some more, like, time with this character to kind of fully understand. Was his sending all three of the witches into the gloopy mud just him lashing out? Him not knowing his powers and just feeling them for the first time and just... Or was it calculated? Was it, these people have wronged me, I don't trust them, and I don't want to work with them, be gone? Now, we know it was at least partly instinctive, because that was seemingly the first time he had used these powers, but it's just interesting, and he's kind of, I'm not that nice. Now, is he thinking, because I had taken over this boy's life and lied to his parents every single day about it? It's not great, but to be honest, it's probably kinder than telling them their son is dead. It's just such a tragic story. So, what I find really, really, really interesting is the fact that he came across every single member of the coven before they were found to walk the road. And it didn't seem as though he was guiding Agatha in any certain way of where to go. Like, I think if he had done anything along the way, or indeed in getting the coven together, I feel like we would have seen it, because we saw flashbacks of those moments where she asked him his name and we heard him say the name. So, I do think that, like, if he had been responsible, if he had done things along the way to cause people to die or to use power to his own ends, we would have seen it in those brief flashbacks. We'd have had those glimpses of it happening. So it seems like it was kind of like destiny that these witches would be the ones that would come together with him, where he and William came across them in the first place. So interesting. So much story to tell. Now, we actually still don't know for certain if you die on the road, if you stay dead. It seems like you do. I don't feel like Alice or Sharon will come back, but Agatha was able to pull herself out of the mud. We don't really know what happens when you get sucked into the mud off the side of the road. I think there is still a chance that Lillian and Jen are alive, but I don't know that either way. I just feel like potentially they could be, because I also think from a narrative standpoint, Billy coming face to face with these two people that kind of trusted him, and then he threw them into the mud because he didn't like what they were doing, like, that could be an interesting narrative point. Also, it could now just be focusing in on Agatha and Billy, and I mean, Rio is still out there. They've seemingly forgotten Rio. I mean, Rio was just gone somewhere. I'm assuming she's going to saunter up at some point, like, hey, but I don't know what's going to happen with that, but I do feel like I could see them glooping, be surviving the going through the mud or whatever. But it's just so interesting. And as a character, there's just still so much to explore with Billy. And just like with Agatha, we know she is a selfish villain. Now, the part of me that loves redemption stories and things like that wants her to try and redeem herself, wants her to realize that this selfish way she's been living her whole life is not the only way she can do it, that she can survive through other means, and for her to develop and grow. I also think she's a really fun character to just have running around being a villain. So it's interesting to kind of get through to her. But there was some of, like, when she first started speaking to Billy, I was kind of like, okay, so she's doing this very antagonistically, like, hi, you're like me now, you're evil like me, haha. But it seemed quite genuine in a weird way. Like, hey kid that I used to know, don't worry, it's okay that you're like me. Like, it didn't 100% seem like she was toying with him and messing with him and being like, ha ha, you're bad too. It seemed like she was genuinely being like, oh no, it's cool, good for you, you survived, I respect. Like, it was just really interesting to kind of see how her mind works. That she wasn't immediately like, you're Wanda Maximoff's son, I hate you. She was kind of like, yeah, I see you, respect, like, good for you, you can be evil like me, it's fine. It was really interesting, and she was also clutching her locket a lot while she was talking about it. I do think that even though she knows he's not her son, he definitely reminds her of her son or who her son could have been. So it's going to be very interesting to see these dynamics going. Now, obviously, as things stand, I don't dislike Billy, but if he decides his I'm not that nice is going to become his whole thing and he's going to become a villain, I will enjoy him as a character and I will not like him, if that makes sense. Like, I kind of have the characters I love, and like, I love that person will be good people, and then I will also love in a different way, like, enjoy the character of the villains. Agatha is currently kind of in the villainy section. I love her character, I really enjoy it, but I don't love her. Billy is in between because I feel like for so much of this he was just teen, and although he seemed likable, we knew nothing about him. Now we do have his backstory, and it's kind of the choices he makes going forwards that are going to really define who he is. And yeah, something that I hadn't even considered, but until a line Agatha said about how Wanda, Mummy chose people, random townspeople instead of her own family. I wonder whether he does feel any degree of, like, as he's learning who he is, as he's remembering, is he going to remember Westview? Or is it more just this sense of, I can read minds, he said that that kid could read minds, and, like, I know Tommy is out there. If he remembers at all, will he ever feel, like, upset that she didn't choose him? She chose to let them not exist to save the townspeople. Obviously, it's the right thing to do, but when you are that person whose family, whose mum is choosing strangers over you, you're probably not going to be able to feel it as logically. That was an interesting thought to have as well. I love this episode. I love seeing the backstory. I genuinely am still so stuck on how fucking tragic it is for the Kaplans. Like, absolutely gut-wrenching, heart-wrenching misery. And they don't even know. And that little boy, the good egg, he's just dead. So I'm guessing Lillian sensed that some magical shit was going to happen to that kid, and so she gave him the sigil to protect him from witches in the hope that it would protect him from the bad shit happening, and it did not. Stress. What a good episode. I need the next one. Like, I cannot wait. So we've got, like, I think 2 more weeks of episodes because the last 2 are both airing on, like, Halloween. So 2 more weeks of episodes. I need all of the answers now. I'm enjoying this show so much. Reminder that you can find the unedited version of this reaction on my Patreon, and thank you so much for watching.